Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. So today I'm going to do a tag video, which, if you've been watching my channel for a while, is very unusual. I generally don't like tags. No offense to people who do tags or make up tags or anything along those lines, but I am just very bad at answering questions in an original or interesting way. And I feel like by the time I get around to actually thinking about doing a tag, all of the good answers have been taken by other people, so I don't feel like doing them anymore, or I get to the point in the cycle where you're just sick of seeing that tag in your sub box, and then I'm like, I'm not going to make that video because I'm tired of watching that video. Anyways, the tag I'm doing today is the Booktube Booker book tag. This is by David from the Poptimist, and he just put this out this week and he tagged me in it, and it's funny because I had no idea what video I was going to make for it this week, and he tagged me in this and I was like, yeah, that works. So I will have a link to his video. You can click on the cards up above. But the basic idea behind this is that, you know, we're basically in the midst of a book award season, although sometimes it feels like book award season never really ends. He was talking about how a lot of the books that are on these long lists and short lists he hasn't really heard of or read, and how this year books feel different and people seem to be gravitating towards different books, and that's definitely true for me as well. I have not read that much literary fiction this year. Not that was ever like the majority of what I read, but I feel like I'm reading significantly more genre fiction than I have in the past. So he was just wanted to make his own sort of booktube version of what would win the awards for us if we had our own shortlist. So he came up with a bunch of categories. Now I will add the caveat that we're only in October, David. It's too early to be picking favorites, but I needed a video to do this week, so you're lucky. And also I bring up this caveat in one of the categories, so you have that to look forward to. A couple of other things that he explains in his video. It doesn't have to be something that was published this year, although if we are going to aggregate the data and pull the numbers, which apparently he plans on doing, you're more likely to have your book move towards the top of the list if it is something that came out this year. So I tried to stick to that as much as possible, but I read just as much, if not more, backlist than I do frontlist. So yeah, let's jump into the categories that David has created. All right, so first up is sort of the big one, and I feel like he should have put this one at the end so there's like some anticipation. But anyways, it's favorite fiction book of the year, and I am matching David and I am picking Circe by Madeline Miller. This is the only book that I've given a 5-star rating to so far this year, and I adored it so much. I'm just going to link to my review of it because I don't need to gush anymore about this book, but this book was not perfect, but it's one of those books where I was so moved and so blown away by this that yes, I love it so much. So yes, definitely my favorite book that I've read so far this year. Next is favorite nonfiction book this year, and for this one I'm picking Bad Blood by John Carreyrou. I feel like I have been recommending this book to so many people. This is one that I listened to on audio, and I listened to it entirely in 48 hours. Like, I started it on a Saturday, I finished it on a Sunday. I could not stop listening to this book. It was one of those audiobooks where I was making up chores in order to continue listening to it. If you aren't aware, this is a nonfiction book that talks about the biotech company Theranos and its founder Elizabeth Holmes. Basically, this whole company was a fraud, and John Carreyrou works for the Wall Street Journal, and he was the person who wrote the article that basically exposed them for the frauds that they are. It is so incredible, and it's so just unbelievable the things that they were able to get away with, and you really wonder like how and why people were so trusting of these people, but also like the way that they ran their company was super bonkers. So yes, if you haven't put Bad Blood on your list yet, please put it on your list. It's so freaking good, and I feel like not enough people are reading it. Like, I know a lot of people are reading it in the general world because a lot of people are really interested in Theranos as a company because Elizabeth Holmes was one of the only like women leading a Silicon Valley startup, and it got a lot of attention, but I feel like in booktube terms, there's still a lot of people who haven't read this book, and I feel like a lot of people would love it. All right, next is favorite debut novel, and for this one, I'm also stealing David's answer, but also because this is probably my second favorite book of the year, and that is There by Tommy Orange. This has been all of the buzz. So many different people have been reading it, raving about it. I don't think I need to talk a whole lot about it. This is a beautiful book. I loved it a lot, and I can't wait to see what else Tommy Orange does. All right, the next category is favorite poetry collection or short story collection. And I was originally going to skip this category because you are allowed to skip categories because I have not read any poetry collections or short story collections technically. I generally don't enjoy them very much. Or I should say I don't enjoy short story collections very often, and I don't try to read a lot of poetry. Like, I avoid it because I'm scared of it. Let's just be honest. But I am going to throw in this book, and I think you can disqualify me if you want for technicality, but I'm going to go with The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's not a poetry collection, but it's a book written in verse, and it basically feels like you're reading poetry the whole time. So, like, tell me that's not poetry. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. I think more people should read it. I love it so much. It's a great coming of age story. Reading novels in verse is one of my favorite things, and I actually listened to this one on audiobook first, which is like my favorite way to experience books in verse. And then I loved it so much that I went out and bought a physical copy of it as well. So yes, The Poet X is the one I'm slipping in there on a technicality. Next is favorite work in translation, and this one I had a little bit of trouble with because a lot of the books in translation that I've been reading recently have been backlist books, but I decided to just throw this one in anyways, even though no one else is probably going to talk about it because I don't think anyone else has read it this year. And that is The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashimo. This is such a good mystery novel. Like, I loved it so, so much. It's the perfect or near perfect puzzle mystery book, and I feel like those are so rare to come across these days. So many mysteries are trying to be super dark and super like gritty and like suspense books with like unreliable narrators and all of these different tropes that are really popular right now, that it feels really hard to find just like good puzzle mystery books, because puzzle mystery books are my favorite. Of course, this did come out in 2005, and so yeah, I don't think that this is going to make anyone else's list, but I love this book, and so I'm just using it as an opportunity to shout out this book. All right, next is favorite comic or graphic novel, and again, this is another category where I'm reading mostly backlist stuff. Like, I usually don't read comics in single issues anymore, so I'm usually waiting for them to be in bind-up form, which means you're getting them like a year or maybe 6 months later than everyone else is reading them. And even with like graphic novels these days, I feel like I'm waiting longer before I'm picking up graphic novels, but my favorite that I've read so far this year is a Booktube favorite, and that's The Best We Could Do by Tai Bu. If you haven't read this yet, it's beautiful. This is a graphic memoir. I wanted to cry multiple times while reading it. This is Tai Bu sort of exploring her family's history, seeing the experiences that her parents had as well as the experiences that she had being in Vietnam and coming over as refugees, and her struggles with identity and just trying to just figure out more about her family's history. Again, it's just so, so beautiful. I cannot recommend it highly enough. All right, next up is favorite book cover, and this is the category where I am slipping in a book that is technically not out yet, but I got an advance copy of it, and I think that this cover is amazing. That is My Sister the Serial Killer. This cover is just fantastic. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it. It's going to be blurry when I do that. But basically, it has this beautiful black woman with a head wrap, sunglasses on, and in the reflection of the sunglasses, you can see someone holding a knife like that. It's fantastic. And like that combined with like the bright green text, just all of it. This is just a fantastic cover, and it's also a fantastic book. So yes, this is going to be my nominee, even though, again, this book isn't out in the world yet, and so it's going to suffer from that fact. This is also just an opportunity for me to remind you guys to put this on your radar. It comes out in November, and it's 100% worth it. All right, next up is favorite author, and for this one, I am going with Lauren Groff. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me post about this, but I basically said on Twitter that Lauren Groff has become my favorite author whose books I've never read. And this is mainly because of the absolutely fantastic answers she's giving while being interviewed this year. I'm going to try to like search through my Twitter to find links to the actual pieces. But in one interview, someone asked her about like being a writer and being a mother and like balancing work and family life and things like that. And she says something along the lines of she's not going to answer that question anymore, that while she knows that that question and her answer might be helpful to some people, she doesn't like the fact that it's only women who get asked that question, and so she's basically going to just stop answering that question. And then the other interview that she did was for the New York Times By the Book feature or column, and she basically just calls out how a significant portion of the guys in the By the Book feature only mention male authors or maybe mention one female author in their entire column, and how that is terrible. But she does it in a really fantastic, really eloquent, really funny way. So yeah, just like based on those things alone, I've never read a Lauren Groff book, but I like Lauren Groff as an author. All right, the next category is what is your favorite Booktube video that's been put out this year? And I was originally thinking about going through some of David's old videos and picking one of his because his are a lot of times really, really smart and fantastic. And not that he puts out dumb videos, but you know, there are some discussions that he's done so far this year that I've really, really enjoyed. But I decided to go with someone who I haven't mentioned yet so far in this video, and that is Deboki. She put out a video this year called What Does Owning an Ebook Feel Like? And she basically found this scientific study that talks about what it's like to own an ebook and the feeling that that creates in ebook owners. And I just really like it because it's just like a completely different angle of coming at books for Booktube. It's combining science and reading and literature and things like that, which is a thing that I always really like. Like, I like it when there's like interdisciplinary studies and discussions and things like that, because all of these different areas of study are not like independent from each other. They all influence each other and things like that. And I just sort of like the fact that one, there was a study done on this, and then also that she decided to talk about it, and especially because she has like a science background, it's just like something completely different for Booktube, and it's really great. All right, and the final question is, who is a new or new to you Booktuber from this year? And this is one I had a hard time with, mostly just because I never remember like when I've subscribed to people. Like, it feels like once I start watching a person's videos, I feel like I've just been watching them forever. So originally, like, if I wasn't going to highlight Deboki in the previous question, I probably would have picked her, partially because there aren't enough brown people making Booktube videos or YouTube videos in general, in my opinion. So I always get really excited whenever I see either Indian or Pakistani or Sri Lankan or anything along those lines, like any sort of Southeast Asian person making videos. I get really excited. But if I had to not pick Deboki, I was sort of like going through my watch history and the people I'm subscribed to, and a person who I really enjoy is Heidi from My Reading Life. She has less than 1,000 subscribers, and her channel isn't like super flashy or anything along those lines, but I really like the books that she reads. Sometimes I just want Booktube channels that aren't trying to push the envelope. Like, obviously I just called out a video that I really enjoyed for pushing the envelope and bringing something different. But when it comes down to it, I really want to watch Booktubers who are talking about books. And sometimes I feel like that gets lost a little bit, just a little bit. Like, people talk about the experience of buying books, and people talk about books that they read a long time ago. But I kind of just really like it when people are doing reviews and wrap-ups, and that's a lot of what Heidi does. I think that if you like my videos, you'll like her videos. I feel like she has sort of that like calmer demeanor, sort of like I do, but also she has this really great, I think it's like a northeastern US accent. I really enjoy that as well. But yeah, I like that she reads a good mix of like fiction and nonfiction. She reads a lot of the books that I either am already interested in, or watching her talk about them makes me interested in them. So yes, that is my one that I will highlight. So yeah, those are all of the categories. Again, there'll be links in the cards as well as down below to the channels and the videos I mentioned. There's also a link to David's original video, and on David's video he actually has a survey as well, so you can actually fill out the survey and answer questions or fill out what you think should go in these categories. So even if you don't make Booktube videos, you can still give your input, because Booktube viewers are just as important as Booktube creators. Yeah, I suppose that's the right phrase. And for once in my life, I'm early on a tag, so I can actually tag people who I know haven't done it yet. So I'm going to tag Marinas from My Name is Marinas. I'm going to tag Didi from Brown Girl Reading. Then I'm going to tag Adam from Memento Mori, because I just want to see if he's read any books that have been published this year. Yeah, so those three. I'm going to go with those three for the people that I'm tagging. Or if you make Booktube videos and you want to make this video, feel free. Like, obviously you don't need to be tagged in order to make a tag video. Let me know down below whether or not you agree with any of my picks. I would love to know if any of you guys are like, no, that's a terrible pick. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing sort of what other people are picking for these categories. Again, it's still really early, in my opinion, to be picking favorites, but I'm just intrigued to see which way people are gonna go. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.